Hello. In this video, I will talk about how can generative AI be used for code debugging. Generative AI can significantly streamline the code debugging process. And this is not a new question if you have been a developer, a programmer, or software engineer for some time, right? This is something you would be really interested in knowing how can you automate the debugging of the code. Generative AI can make it more efficient and less time consuming for developers. Here is how generative AI can be leveraged for debugging code. First and foremost, automated error detection. Generative AI can be trained to recognize patterns in code that typically lead to errors. By analyzing the code base, it can identify potential bugs or issues that might not be immediately obvious to human eyes. Number two, suggesting fixes. Once an error is detected, generative AI can suggest potential fixes. For instance, if the AI identifies a common null pointer exception, it can suggest checks or modifications to prevent the application from crashing. I think this could be really useful because instead of finding out that your application crashes at runtime, you can do the modification and checks beforehand when writing the code, when debugging the code. This will save you as a developer a lot of time going back and forth, deploying your code or checking it, running it. You can save a lot of time and focus or use that time on productivity, on writing more code which is needed for the applications. Number three, code refactoring. Generative AI can suggest improvements or refactoring opportunities in the code that could prevent potential bugs, enhance performance, or improve readability and maintainability. Of course, you as a developer, as you're more senior, you could do the code refactoring, but it could equally equip or empower the junior or new developers that they can rely on generative AI to see the improvements, potential refactoring opportunities in the code, and it will ease up in understanding the code but also preventing potential bugs, enhancing the performance, improving the readability, and making the code easy to maintain. Number four, predictive analytics. By analyzing past bugs and fixes, AI can predict areas of code that are more prone to errors and suggest proactive measures to avoid future issues. I think this could also be seen from the developer perspective. So let's say if you are a developer and you provide 10 functions of yours to AI, or maybe more, of course, depending on how much code you have written, AI analyzes your code and could suggest you on your code writing style where you need to put the improvement. What are kind of common mistakes that you duplicate in each function that you write, right? In each piece of code that you write. So I think this could be really a performance improvement, not only for the developer but also for the team or the organization that he's working in. Number five, integration with development environments. Generative AI can be integrated into development environments, commonly known as IDEs, providing real-time suggestions and corrections as developers write code, which helps in immediate error detection and correction, right? So for example, once you integrate grammar check or syntax check, things like that, once you integrate Grammarly application in your Word document, it immediately points you towards, okay, these are the corrections or potential improvements that you need to make. Same could be applied for IDEs, integrated development environments, that generative AI is embedded. The examples, there are, for example, from IBM, Watson Assistant, from Microsoft Copilot, and there are some other examples out there. You can pick and choose whatever you like. but the idea is how you can leverage AI to augment and enhance your code writing processes. Number 6, automated testing. AI can generate test cases that cover edge cases or unusual scenarios that might not be immediately obvious, enhancing the code's robustness, right? So you will have more test cases, more enhanced test cases, more test coverage with the power of AI, generative AI. Natural language processing. Number 7. Developers can describe a problem in natural language, and AI can interpret this to provide relevant debugging suggestions or code snippets. How cool is that? I think that would be really interesting. I would love to try that. So maybe after I finish recording this video, I'm gonna try that, and who knows that I will record a video on that. Learning from code repositories. Number 8. AI can analyze vast repositories of code available in public and private databases to learn common bug patterns and their fixes. So analyzing code which is available in public repositories, perhaps also private repositories, to learn common bug patterns and their fixes, which can then be applied to the developer's code. This is power of crowd, right? How you can use the power from the code that has been written by many developers, and you analyze the common patterns and then apply it to your code to improve your code. Number 9, assisting in code reviews. By analyzing the code, AI can highlight areas that might require attention during code reviews, making the process more focused and efficient. Number 10, enhancing developer productivity. By automating routine debugging tasks, AI allows developers to focus on more complex and creative aspects of software development. Other examples you could think of course, for example, in peer programming, right? You can leverage AI as one of the peer, and you could change it. Let's say when you have remote teams, you have AI as a peer programmer. It would be very interesting use case to work on that. By leveraging these capabilities, generative AI can play a crucial role in enhancing the debugging process, reducing the time and effort required to identify and fix errors, and ultimately improving the quality and reliability of software applications. I think this is even one step further, because you're kind of identifying or preventing the error to occur, right? So you are taking one step further by taking the user input in a natural language and then improving your code, right? By identifying at the runtime where are the potential improvements in the code when the developer is writing the code, and suggesting all of the different applications or use cases which we have discussed throughout this video, whether it's like suggesting fixes, automatically detecting errors, refactoring the code, doing the predictive analysis on the code itself, on the patterns, bugs and fixes, integration with the IDEs, automated testing, natural language processing we have already discussed or mentioned this a few times. Learning from plethora of code available, which is in public and private repositories out there on GitHub and other repositories or the hosting sites, code hosting sites. It could also be replicated in the code across an enterprise, right? So you have different teams, and there are some teams who are very good at coding, whether it's a R&D or a product specific team, and how you could leverage their code writing capabilities and practices. So on runtime, leveraging AI, extract the best practices and apply that to your code. I think that's really cool. Then assisting in code reviews and enhancing the developer productivity, helping the developer to grow in writing the code at a much faster and efficient pace than it was possible before Gen AI. So these are the cool applications that we have discussed for generative AI in augmenting or assisting the developers in the code debugging process. So let me know if you have any other ideas, questions, or comments in the comments of this video. Put your worries, questions, and comments below, and if needed, I will answer those in the next video. Bye for now.